Hello everyone! It has been a while since I have just sat down and talked to you, so I thought I would do a little story time. I am officially an audiobook narrator. I technically was before, but now I am in a novel sense, much more, dare I say, professionally. So I wanted to share with all of you the story of what it was like to record my audiobook for Trees of Fate, along with some tips and tricks in the narration publishing industry, because there's a lot more to it than I thought there was going to be. And also some funny stories along the way, because what's an Angelina Scriptor video without some crazy, unexpected things happening while I just try to be a writer. Before I begin, my name is Angelina Scriptor. I am the author of Roses and Thorns, 100 Poems for Life, and the young adult dystopian romance novel Trees of Fate. I also own the publishing company Scriptors Inc., and I know a lot of tips and tricks about publishing, writing, editing, formatting, and now audiobook recording and narration. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, please subscribe, leave a like, and join me for my journey. So, what is it really like to record an audiobook? There's a lot of different ways to go about an audiobook. You can hire a narrator, you can hire multiple narrators, you can do a do-it-yourself project, and of course, me being me, I wanted to do everything myself, including the voice acting, editing, publishing, all of it. So that is the avenue of this publication that you're going to be hearing. So if you're interested in doing your own DIY project for an audiobook, maybe something in this video will be able to help you. Obviously, the first thing you think of when you think of an audiobook is the listening aspect. You think of maybe the person that recorded it, the person that wrote the story, and that's kind of what there is to it. There is hearing your favorite story told through an audio variation. To get to that point, of course, someone has to record the audiobook. That is the clearest step in this entire process. Someone has to record an audiobook. In this case, that was me. This probably goes without saying, but there were a lot more takes than I thought there were going to be. Everyone watching this is probably going, yeah, of course there were a lot of takes. What did you expect? But no, there were takes for reasons I was not expecting. I made a list right here of just the things that I was not expecting to happen to my brain and my vocal cords while I was working. Your voice will get sore. That sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it happens more than you'd think, and you really need to be taking good care of your vocal health while you work on this audiobook. You know, drinking a lot of good tea, putting a lot of rest, not overusing it while you're working and out of work. But that idea got to me more than I thought it was going to, because I was so ready some days to go to my office and record my audiobook and get things done, and my voice just wasn't cooperating sometimes. So there were days that I'd want to push through it and just record that one last chapter, and the next day my voice would be entirely gone, especially when you're trying to do different octaves and different character tones and all that stuff. You can seriously overuse your voice. That's not a good thing. So one of the things I had to learn was patience and planning, and I tried to learn a workflow that worked best for me. Obviously, this is going to be different for different people, but there's another aspect to this: editing. That was the part, oh boy, there is so much editing while you record your audiobook. I used a program called Audacity while I was working, and this made it easier to be able to meet the requirements of production standards for the different companies I was using, whether that be Findaway Voices, which is now in audio, I believe, and Audible. They all have different parameters for how loud you can be, how soft you can be, how much background noise there can be, more on that later, and all that kind of stuff to just make sure that the listeners, whether they have earbuds in or headphones or just speakers, whatever it might be, it sounds balanced and good. The editing process itself was a lot more than I was bargaining for, but I am familiar with YouTube editing and all that stuff, so it did make it easier. But there were so many hours that I just sat at the computer listening to myself retaking a line over and over again, and then sometimes in the recording process I would just try to power through a part, and then no, I had to go back and re-record an entire scene or line or whatever it might have been. Maybe you want to try to get it as smooth as you possibly can, and depending on how nitpicky you are, more edits, but I didn't want it to sound any less professional, so clean edits. There was a lot to it. but I will also say I think I did pretty well for where I'm at. All that to be said, I had to learn my schedule. On the days that my voice was dead and not cooperating, I would try to record a lot of chapters in advance and then edit them all on the days that I couldn't be recording. So the days my voice was great and healthy, record more perhaps. Or on the earlier side of things, when I hadn't necessarily worn out my voice as much, I would record a chapter, edit a chapter, record a chapter, edit a chapter. That was great for my feelings of productivity and efficiency, not so great for the actual timeline of the project because there were a lot of other things getting in the way of my recording, such as background noise. I did not realize how much background noise would come into play during the production of an audiobook. I have a separate space that I go to record sometimes. Sometimes I'm right here in my room. Sometimes I'm elsewhere and can't get to my recording software, but I still want to be productive, so I try to bring my things there. There's a lot that can happen. From a dog barking, but I managed to thank him for the food, a person talking in the background, to things that you didn't necessarily consider, such as a car drives by and the window isn't as soundproof as I thought it was. Despite how they no longer fell from the sky, they wrestled. The air conditioning kicks on. Someone turns on water in a different room. My heart sank. And my absolute favorite experience, the fire alarm goes off. Story time. Okay, so I was house sitting. I was not home. And a lot of the time, between taking care of all the responsibilities that I had a lot of downtime that I thought, this is perfect. It's a quiet space. I will be able to work on recording new chapters of my audiobook. This went so not according to plan. The walls are very not soundproof. And there's electricity whirring in every corner of the house. Not things you would necessarily think of. I sat down in the dining room and I was like, this is such a great space. The table will click my mic right onto it. The computer can be here. The outlet can be there. And I went to get everything set up and there's finally a moment of quiet and I realized the mini fridge in the corner is too loud for the background decibel range that I need to be under. So I switched to a different room and there's some air circulation that kicks on every 10 minutes, which yes, I ended up calculating because those were the 10 minutes that I would try to then record the chapter in between every cycle that this would turn on and then go back to the chapter and really try to get this thing done. But my absolute favorite moment was when I was in a room of people in the dining room. We were all chatting, catching up, talking about our day, and I plug in my computer and we're all continuing to talk, and I thought I would edit some of my poetry book while I was there, and the fire alarm went off. Oh boy. So I very quickly am like, okay, everyone, go outside. I'm going to start checking the rooms and make sure, there's not a fire somewhere. I'm asking anyone if they touched anything, if anyone was messing with the alarm system. No one was doing anything. We checked the rooms. The fire department's on the way. There's no obvious fires anywhere. So I sit back down, I go to write, and the fire alarm goes off again. So at this point, I pick up all my stuff, I usher everyone outside, and we're just outside waiting for the fire department to come and figure this out, because why is the fire alarm going off twice? The owner of the home calls me, and they're wondering what happened. I'm explaining that I don't know what happened. I'm saying that we were all in the room, and it just went off. And so the fire department comes, they check the alarm systems, they check everything, and there's no fire, everything's good. It is likely just a faulty alarm. So I'm saying, okay, at least I did not burn the house down while I was here. So the next day, someone else is taking the morning shift of watching the house for me, and the person comes to check all of the alarms and replaces the faulty ones, and everything is good. Everything's up to date, no more problems. So later on, I come in I'm setting up my computer at the table. I go to plug it into the same outlet as the day before. I'm preparing to record the next 2 chapters of my audiobook. While it's going to be nice and quiet, I'm just talking to the person that's there for a little while. And as soon as I plug in my computer, the fire alarm goes off. I turn to the other person in the room and I'm just like, it's my computer. And they're like, no, there's no way. It's not your computer. That couldn't have happened. That's so ridiculous. They're turning off the alarm and I'm just sitting there like, no, it's actually my computer. When I did this the other day, it was also when I had my computer plugged in, and I bet it went off twice because I never unplugged it. So the fire department is on their way back. I call the homeowner. I explain what happened. They tell me just cover the outlet for now. Don't let anyone use it just in case. And use a different one for now. I'll explain to the fire department what happened, and they're going to have to come anyways because it's, of course, custom to do so, and they have to check and make sure nothing's wrong. So in the meantime, I'm telling the other person there, like, wow, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe it's me. I can't believe it's my computer. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's not you. It's not your computer. It's just the outlet. And while they're saying all of this, they took my cord and brought it to a different outlet in the same room, all while trying to calm down my hilarity at the event, just completely like, no, it's fine, it wasn't you. And they plug it into the wall and the fire alarm goes off. Both of us just looked at each other and started cracking up laughing because it's not the outlet. It is just my computer. It is just the fact that I was trying to work while I was at this house. Of course, this would happen to me. My instructions for the rest of the week that I was there was, please don't plug your computer in to my house. So yeah, background noise can be a big problem while you're trying to record an audiobook. So for this last point, I want to explain a little bit about my personality. When I start a project, I really like to see it all the way through before I stop. Sometimes that's great for my productivity. Sometimes it is a bad habit that I need to break because sometimes I just get so in the zone that hours will pass and I will realize I did not get out of my chair and stretch, I did not socialize with anyone, and I did not eat food. I get very in the zone when I'm in the zone. This cannot work while you're recording an audiobook. I found that my brain will just shut off. And it's something I tried to just push through at the beginning. It doesn't work. So what do I mean by that? There will be times that I will be in a very long recording session. I will have been going for a while and I will be feeling very productive, so I want to continue. I'm enjoying myself, so I want to continue. And my jaw will start to feel like mush. I will start slurring my words and my brain will just turn off. I found this particularly happens when I'm hungry. It sounds ridiculous, but if I hadn't eaten and I was trying to record and not take a food break, I would just start messing up my words, like ridiculously. I would start saying the wrong letters. I would start completely slurring and stuttering. I would just lose my ability to focus. And then I think I get through the chapter and then I listen back to it and I realize, what are you saying? What are you even reading? Those are not the right words.
They must have simply assumed that the conditions there were so bad that the people weren't worth watching. They must have simply assumed that the conditions there were so bad that the people weren't worth it. I grabbed my pillow and clasped it to my chest.
And I'm nitpicky too. If I say of and I meant to say have, I will re-record it because I want it to be right. That was a bad combination. But I will also say there are so many hilarious outtakes that you get from this. There were times when I would stop recording and the recording would still be going, but I would stop participating in it because I just had to laugh at myself. And I try to laugh it off and continue sometimes, but the laughter would only keep going because what did I just say? And I really had to take that in for a moment. And that's usually when I'd close my laptop for the day and say, okay, it's time to eat.
He revealed a few blossom petals, but I snatched his wrist. He revealed a few Alaric continually pushed past. Alaric continue pushed her.
So what did I learn from this experience? I learned there's a lot more to audiobook recording than I thought there was between the recording, the voice acting, the editing. I learned that you have to respect yourself while you work. You can't just keep pushing yourself. You have to take care of your voice. You have to take care of your basic needs, like making sure you're well slept, well fed, and energized. There's kind of some natural built-in precautions to avoid burnout, which is kind of a good thing because the next thing is it encourages you to find a good workflow, whether that's figuring out days that editing is better, recording is better, or both is better. Whether it tells you, okay, today's going to be a very productive workday that I work all day with some healthy breaks in between, or I just record for a little while today and get done what I can. Even something like rain outside my window has stopped me at times from being able to record the chapters that I wanted to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it shifted me to be productive elsewhere. And my final takeaway from all of this is that I had so much more fun than I thought I was going to. I recorded my poetry book, Roses and Thorns, 100 Poems for Life, but those were poems. There wasn't any real character voice acting to that, and it was a lot shorter than my novel was. I fell in love with my characters on a whole new level when I was recording Trees of Fate. Each of their personalities really came out, each of their styles of speaking, and the way I wrote the story felt like it was so easily expressed while I was reading it. I just had so much fun getting to connect with my characters in that way, and by the time I got to say the words at the end, I was so sad to leave them. I wanted to keep spending this time with them. It was so much fun. It also can really help with your confidence at times because I'm not a natural public speaker. It's been something that I decided I enjoyed and have been working on ever since. And recording the audiobook is similar to my YouTube endeavors, but it's different because it completely interacts with my passion work directly in the way that it brought out my love for writing in a whole new way. So if this is something you're potentially interested in trying, I would highly recommend you give it a shot. Don't get so caught up on an inability to read well or thinking you just can't do it. Everyone has different things they love and enjoy, and maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you just want to write the story or just edit the story and you don't want to have anything to do with the speaking part of it. That's totally fine. And it makes for a completely separate, enjoyable audiobook experience because you get to interact with voice actors and people and hearing other voices tied to your beloved characters. But if this is something that you were thinking maybe I would like to give a try, it was so much fun in my journey of trying it. I will absolutely be doing it again. And if you're at all curious to hear how my final project turned out, to get to meet the characters that I have fallen in love with many times over now, or just to see the stories that I've come up with, Roses and Thorns, 100 Poems for Life, and Trees of Fate are available to listen to in full audiobook format, narrated by the author, wherever you get your audiobooks. Whether that is Audible with your one-time payment or membership subscription, whether it be through a library service, or you can listen completely free with your Spotify premium account. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, and I really, truly thank you if you are interested in checking out my work. If you're interested in more stories like this, please do subscribe, and I will be sharing more of my adventures on the writer's life with all of you. I have some very exciting news coming very shortly, and another book will very soon be joining my audio and physical library and ebook. My books are also available in ebook. They're available in pretty much every format depending on where you look. If you are interested in finding where each format is available, you can go to bookstoread.com/Angelina Scriptor. I don't think I plugged that enough, but I have ebook, paperback, hardcover, dust jacket, and audio. I'm also in stores. I can be brought up at any library, and you can mention me at your favorite Barnes & Noble. You can find me. So thank you so much. I hope you were able to learn something today, whether it be about audiobooks or we're just getting some entertainment out of my crazy writing endeavors that somehow always happen to me. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the future. Scriptor out.